So do you remember a while back when I made a video about SYNACK? Well, basically it's a search engine aggregator. It allows you to pretty much gather all the information from different search engines and present them in a website that you host. The benefit could be that you don't care to see sponsored content, or maybe you don't want to see advertisements popping up all over the place. Whatever your reasoning, it does make your searches a little bit cleaner. I have been using SYNACK for quite some time, probably in the past like 6 months, ever since I did that video, and I've really enjoyed the clean results. And now sometimes I'll switch back to Google for its little Gemini, but for the most part, all my searching is done through that. Well, there is a new player in this game called degoogle, and it's inspired by SYNACK, but it's, I think, a little bit quicker, a little bit newer, and a little bit more bells and whistles. The goal from the developer is really just to make something a little bit more customized, a little bit more, I guess, stylable, I guess, for lack of a better word. So I want to go ahead, I want to show you that project, and I want to show you why I think I'm probably going to start using it. And then I'm going to show you how to install it, get it set up, get it internet facing, so you can go and have your own search engine, very similar to the way that Google used to look and operate. Let me show you what I mean by that. So this is it. Pretty cool, right? I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but this is the way that Google used to look. And it looks this way a little bit sometimes now, but the results are definitely a little bit different. So let's say I want to do a search for Virginia. I would pop that in there, and then boom, here's all my results. And the best thing about this is it's not just pulling from Google, it's pulling from DuckDuckGo, Brave, Wikipedia, all different sources. And these sources are customizable by you, the search engine hoster. And it basically works just like Google used to work, gives you the results that you're looking for. But one thing you may notice that you're missing is all those things that say sponsored, 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 where someone has paid to get a higher spot on Google's search engine. And that's all fine and dandy, but threat actors have also been using this technique to make sure that their malicious sites are way up there on your search results, and will end up tricking you into doing something that you ideally don't want to do. Good thing about this is that that's not possible. So kudos to degoogle. It has all the fun stuff that you would expect from your search engine. It has options. You can narrow down the time that you want to look for. Do you want to look for sites that were just maybe updated in the last month or created in the last month? Here we go. We have some stuff in here. Do we want to look for different languages? Well, you have that option there too. We change our language to pretty much any number of languages that we want. I'm going to stick with English because if not, I'd probably get lost. I know a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of German, but other than that, it's a little fun fact for you to take home with you. Let's go ahead and click on images. So here we go. We have images that are popping up, pretty much just as quick as your typical Google search would give you. And if we wanted to, we can always retry, see if there's anything else. Not too many images here, and that's kind of disappointing. Oh, there we go. We just had to refresh a little bit. Again, this is going out and doing the searching for you. So it's not going to always be as lightning fast as like some of your other providers, but the trade-off is that you're not being bombarded with ads all the time. So I think it's a pretty good trade-off. Videos, same kind of story. We're pulling a lot of videos from all different spots. That does include YouTube and other web pages as well. And then we have news. So what's going on in Virginia? Here's all the news that it's being able to pull. It's pulling from Brave News and Bing News. Again, this is all customizable by you. And we've already covered options, and that pretty much covers almost the entirety of your new search engine aggregator. Again, I think it's really quick. I'm definitely going to consider using this, at least to try it out. One thing I did not cover, and that is our settings over here. So we click on settings. I have put in an environment variable to require a password in order to change these. And I'll show you why in just a second. I'll type in my password. This allows me to customize everything about the search engine, from its appearance to plugins or themes that I've loaded that can be installed via the store. There's a little bit of customization that can happen here. We can choose our appearance, light mode, dark mode. We can go to server, clear out our cache if we want to, like remove anything that it's already pulled in the past. We can enable streaming results, and this is basically what this does is this will present you results before it's had a chance to fully get all of the results. So basically, it's just streaming you the content. So let's enable that. And yeah, let's just do auto and leave it alone. Next, we can enable or disable the change of the search engines. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that as it is. We can also set up to route our traffic through a proxy. So maybe we wanted to obfuscate where our searches are coming from. Totally up to you. Very good privacy. We can route that information through a proxy. That way, none of these search engines really realize who's actually doing these searches. Because even the aggregator, if you're hosting this at home, it's going to show these search engines, this is what this IP address is searching for. So it still allows them to kind of track what you're doing to some extent. They just can't load any cookies or anything like that onto your machine. We can also rate limit it if we want to. If our search engine's getting hit too hard, we can enable that. I'm not really so much concerned. Next up, we got our engines. So maybe we did not want to get results from Bing. We could turn that off if we wanted to. We can also configure any of these search engines. So if we can configure Google, we can say, you know what, the safe search should always be on, or maybe it should be off. Maybe you're doing a search engine for your home and you want to make sure that the results that are coming out of here are safe for your kids. Totally understandable. We have advanced, and what this does is gives you a couple of options here. Specifies how it's going about getting the results from Google. We can also set up a scoring system. So maybe you want Google results to be higher and more relevant than ones coming from Bing. Well, you can change this scoring system too. Next up, we have a couple of other things. We have some where are we getting our news from? Where are we getting our videos? All, good options to have. So if we wanted to turn off Bing and don't care about Bing News and don't care about Bing Images, then we just flip that switch and it's all ready to go. I would love the ability to add more here in the future, but I think that might be where we'll cover some of our plugins. So next up is plugins. So these are the things that we already have loaded on our system. We can enable or disable these as well. So replaces at a glance with a brief AI generated using any open AI. So we can configure that. It looks like we can, oh, cool, we can add our own AI into here as well. So if you're missing that whole Google AI, then boom, we can go ahead and do that. That is freaking cool. IP address lookup, that's fine. Yeah, all these plugins have their own customization and configuration associated with them. Transports, how are we going about actually reaching out to the different search engines? Nothing really to configure here. Themes, we only have one, so happy with that. But good news is we have a store. Our store will allow us to load any plugin or theme that we want to. And I'm going to show you something really cool. So let's drop this down. I'm going to click on themes. And we have a couple of options. So we have Pokemon. We have cappuccini, cappuccino, however you say that. Coffee. So we can customize that too. But I am going to install Pokemon. So once I install Pokemon, I'm going to go back to my themes. I'm going to refresh my screen. And now we have Pokemon. So let's go ahead and configure this guy. And we can choose which flavor we want. Do we want Pikachu, which is yellow, yellow, Bulbasaur, which is green, Salamander, orange, or Squirtle? I'm going to go with Squirtle. So I'll go Squirtle and I hit apply. And let's zoom out and apply our Pokemons. So now we have changed to blue. So if we go back to our screen, there we have Squirtle at the top, and check this out. If I move myself out the way, we have him down here at the bottom too. Pretty neat, right? I thought you guys would dig that. Let's head back to our settings and our store. We can check out the different engines too. So we can add additional search engines, and that is done by this store system. So if we wanted to include DuckDuckGo images, very easy. All you do is just click install. Moving on, we have plugins, and this gives us a couple of extra really cool options like weather. I think we already have that installed. Nope, it's installing now. So this will give us a weather summary, which is also very cool. Do we want help with password generation? Here's one that will help you generate random passwords. This one would help you do math. And this one gives you a home RSS feed, which is very cool. And this one, GitHub. Yeah, so we'll enable that guy. Again, all of them will have different configuration items. If it doesn't show up immediately, just hit refresh. Boom, it's there. We can hit our GitHub. So if we do have an API token, we can provide that. Weather, we can give it our default city. So if we're in London, cool. Maybe we want to use Fahrenheit instead of Celsius. Natural language, cool, whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. So if we go back and we say exclamation point weather and then Paris, and we do that, it will give us our weather forecast, which is very, very nifty and very interactive. That's cool. And it even drops it down by hour. And again, no ads, just a cute little turtle. All right, let's head back to the store. Next up, we have our transports. So if there's bypass Cloudflare challenges with FlareSolverr, not really being challenged by Cloudflare at this moment, so I'm not going to worry about that. And again, we covered engines and everything else. So installation is very easy to do, does not take much. And if you also have additional plugins, you can add more repositories as well. I think there's a couple on the GitHub page, which we'll check out in a second. So there's all sorts of different ways to customize this search engine and make it your own. So very cool. And again, like I said, very fast. So let's do this. I'm going to show you how to get this set up on your own server. If you don't already have a virtual private server or somewhere to put this, I am going to provide a link at the top of the page to give you a great deal on servers from Rack Nerd. And we're talking like 20 bucks a year, man. You can have your own server. So it's a great place to host this. I'm going to show you how to set that up using Nginx Proxy Manager. We're going to be loading it with Portainer, and then I'm going to show you how to make it internet facing. We're going to make some changes to our DNS and actually set us up our own domain that will be used. So maybe we want to be able to search for on our mobile device. We're out in the world, don't want to rely on someone else's search engine. We can always pop back to ours, which we are self-hosting. So I will see you over there in just a second. You know, we call this snack time, but I never actually usually snack on this while I'm doing this. But I do have me some nice green tea to drink today. So hope you don't mind. Let's go ahead and start this off by heading over to Portainer, and let's set up our stack. So we are going to need to go to our GitHub page to get this information. I'm going to go to add stack just to get us ready for it. So we go over to GitHub. Here is our GitHub page. And the URL will be down at the bottom as well. The only thing that we really need from here is our Docker Compose file, but I did want to take a chance just to kind of show you a little bit about the page. Again, we're in very early beta, but he is very frequently updating this thing. It was last updated last week. So he does give us a couple of things, very easy things to do. Gives us our Docker Compose file here. Maybe we wanted to load it with a Proxmox VE script. He also gives us that. We are going to be using Docker Compose because we're going to be using Docker. Remember the store repositories I was talking about? Well, here is a list of other ones that other people have made to be able to load into degoogle. So if we take a look at this one, let's hop on over here. So he has some plugins there. Let's see what he has. He has a help button, Pokemon for haters, more themes, the debut. I'm leaving that in there. I don't care. And then we have the king. So this one, that's pretty cool. He has a lot of fun ones. I'm not going to get myself into trouble by going to the rest of these, but you please feel free to. Oh, they have Google Maps or something like very similar. I got to check this out before we head out. A story repository for degoogle. And I guess it just has, yeah, maps in there or something. They have some screenshots you can show us. Hey, very cool, man. Yeah. So you can add maps to your search engine. I really am digging this whole project, and everybody getting on board with it is freaking awesome. All right, let's not delay any further and let's go ahead and run this installation. It's going to be fast. I'm just going to make a few changes just because I want to, but shouldn't take us too far off course. All right, so I'm just going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it degoogle, and I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here. All right, so what I usually like to do with every single project is take a look at the Docker Compose file. So there's no surprises. There's no nothing you're not familiar with. So we start off with our services called degoogle. We are going to be using image, so no need to compile this ourselves. We are establishing a volume, but we are going to change this a little bit. I like mine to be mapped. That's just me. So I'm going to remove that // and I'm going to come down here to the very bottom, and I'm going to add one of volumes, and oops, don't tab it. There we go, volumes, and then data. And so what this does is this creates the volume in Docker and allows us to really manage it and know it, because it's going to show up in Portainer. So we'll be able to know exactly where the path is without kind of guessing where // went off to. So next up we have our ports, and this is where you have to make a decision. Do you want to host this locally in your network and not make it internet facing, or do you want to make it internet facing? If you do, I highly encourage you to go ahead and disable these, and let's use Nginx Proxy Manager, because that will allow us to encrypt the traffic and also handle all the routing, for lack of a better word. It'll route it through the Nginx Proxy Manager app to this Docker container. So I'm going to pretty much comment out mine, because I am going to show you how to make it internet facing. And lastly, we have our restart policy. It's unless stopped. It means the server reboots. This thing's going to come up automatically unless you stopped it before the server rebooted. All right, so let's do this. Zoom out. So before we move on, I do want to go ahead and add our protection for our settings, which, if we're going to make this internet facing and available to any sort of public access, we do want to go ahead and add that as a variable. So it's not by default in here, but it is an environment variable. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a line under image and call it environment, then colon, and then enter, and it's already indented it for us. And let's go back to our GitHub page. And if we look right here about middle of the page, we have a documentation link. So if we click this guy, we have all of the variables that we can use in our Docker Compose file. There is also information about the different modules, the information about plugins, where they go, how to create them, search engines, transports, stores, everything that you can possibly configure about this. If you wanted to spin up your own store repository, you could, using the information in this document. We only carry about a couple of things right now, and that's primarily this settings password. So I don't want somebody just to be able to change any of our settings without some sort of authentication. So I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to say equals, and I'm going to say password 123, totally uncrackable. So there you go, enjoy that. I am going to add a little dash in front, and that makes that thing not yell at me and be very unhappy. One thing I did not notice, which is kind of cool, is the degoogle public instance. So if this is going to be public facing and you expect other people to be using it, this might be something that you want to enable. So it says when set to a truthy value, true is 1, The instance runs in read-only mode. Settings show only theme and engine toggles. No tabs. All server-side mutation API returns unauthorized, which is kind of good because it does have an API, and we may not want people just using that yeah, all willy-nilly. So up to you. And we also looks like we have a logger too. I'm very interested in this. I'm not going to enable it right away. I want to go ahead and make sure that everything is set up and configured. Then I'm going to try enabling it and see what happens. So let's go ahead and add this guy in here. Paste him. And I'm going to equal, and then I'm going to set it to 0. Should be our not truthy value. All right, with that being done, let's go ahead and scroll down and let's hit deploy. All right, that was fast. All right, so if we go into our containers and our degoogle, we should see that it is running on port 444. We'll need that port a little bit later on. All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and go over to our DNS. And I use Namecheap, but you feel free to use whatever DNS server you want to. We are just going to be adding an A record, and that will allow us to add a name to our search engine. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add new record and hit A right there. And let's see if I zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to call this search, and I'm going to just route it to my external IP address. And I'm going to hit save changes. And so what this will set us up is a subdomain. So it'll be search.synhow.com. That's how your A records work. So it'll add something to the left of your domain. All right, let's go ahead and go over to our Nginx proxy manager, and let's add a new one. And we're going to call it that search.synhow.com. Again, let me zoom in, make it giganormous. All right, so we got that specified. It's going to be routing to, it's asking for a host name or IP address and our port. So we're going to need to find that. If we go back over to Portainer and we look at our containers, and let's just do this. I'm going to just, there we go. So here we go. Here is our container name. That's going to be our host name. So we're going to copy that guy. We're going to paste him in here. Make sure there's no white space that's in front of him. I don't think there is. And now it needs our port. If you don't remember what that was, then that's okay. We're gonna fix that. I'm gonna show you where to find it. If we go back to our GitHub, it's going to be this number right here. So I want to show you this. On the left of this colon, this is the port that the container is listening to on the public side of the network, right? Versus this is what the container is listening to traffic on. So this colon is kind of like port forwarding, but in our instance here, we're port forwarding 4444 to 4444. So we just need to pick one of these. It doesn't matter which one. All right, let's go to our proxy manager. Let's go ahead and paste this guy in there. Boom. All right. Got our 444s. All right, so I'm going to enable block common exploits and WebSocket support just for funsies, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Once that is saved, and we now have to, I'm going to add a security certificate because, you know, for one, it's free, and two, it's secure. Go ahead and hit the little 3 dots and hit edit. All right, so I'm going to zoom in yet again for those of us who can't see very well. And I'm going to hit SSL. I'm going to drop this down and request a new one. I'm going to force the SSL, and I'm going to hit save. If everything went okay, this window should fly away and not give us any sort of error messages. But if it does, it may be that you didn't give the DNS enough time to propagate, or you might just have a spelling error. Happens to the best of us. All right, before we can click on this, we do need to make sure that the Nginx proxy manager is joined to the same network as our Google site. Sorry, degoogle site. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to Portainer, and let's look for our Nginx. Here we go. This is our Nginx app right there. Let's go ahead and jump into him. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to move myself out of the way a little bit. So if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we'll see the networks that our Nginx proxy manager is joined to, and degoogle is not one of them. But if we drop this down and we can find our degoogle default, that's our network, and we can hit join. And we can verify, hey, he is down here at the bottom. Very cool. He's gotten an IP address. Very, very awesome. Now, in theory, we should be able to go back to our site and click on our link here. Cross your fingers. Yay! We have our Google site. All right, so we have our password. I'm going to go ahead and make password. What did we make it? 1, 2, 3? Yeah, we did. Awesome. Now, I want to try something before we call it quits. I want to come here to the store. I want to enable our theme for Pokemon. And there we go. I'm going to go back, refresh. I want to configure mine, make it Squirtle, save it, and apply. I'm going to go ahead and also go to the store. And I want to install that passwords one and the weather, the time, and I gotta have math. I'm horrible at math. And I think that's about it. Oh, DuckDuckGo images. Install that too. All right, everything seems to be okay. I'm gonna leave Bing off for the search engine, but on for the images and everything else. And we're gonna go back. Okay, so now we have all that set up. Again, thanks for hanging in here with me. Let's go back to our stacks. Let's go back to degoogle and go to our editor. And let's change this to a 1. I want to see what happens. So this will make this a public instance. We hit update. You don't have to repull and deploy the image. However, if you ever need to update it, this is an easy way to do it. You come in here to the editor, just hit update stack, check this box and hit update, and it'll go out there and retrieve the latest image, which with projects like this that are being actively developed pretty frequently is definitely a good thing to do every once in a while. Take a little sip. All right, so let's take a peek here. Cool. All right, so we have that set up. Oh, cool. That's definitely different. It did keep our stuff though, which is cool. So it allowed us to keep our Pokemons, and yeah, you can't change it, but I guess that's a great thing to do. Set it up and configure it the way you want it, and then if you wanted to make it internet facing, enable that public facing environment variable, and just here we go. We're probably safe to use this. If I had to guess, this is most likely going to be per session. So if somebody comes in here that's not you and unchecks a bunch of these, then it'll probably recheck itself, or it won't matter. It's only going to be for this person. Let me confirm that. If we take and dump our cache, let's see here, storage and clear site data, and then let's refresh. Yeah, there we go. They're rechecked again. So yeah, it was only for that person's session, which is very cool. Awesome. Dude, I like that. I like that a lot. Did snack time show up? Yay! Go look to my website. All right, man. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you think you might use it, let me know. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those down below. And I really appreciate you popping in and joining me. I guess I'll see you next time. You guys take it easy. Take care.